Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be providing a long-term market analysis for Hedera Hashgraph and covering some very key support and resistance levels to watch out for with HBAR, as well as talking about the Bitcoin ratio pair. So if you guys enjoy the content, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. Also, this channel is sponsored by FTX.us, which is a great exchange where you can buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrencies like HBAR. If you sign up with my link in the description below, you can get a 5% discount on your exchange fees with my promo code SNOWYCRYPTO. All right, so let's talk about HBAR here. Currently, we are bouncing off of this support level at around 6 cents. It's a great sign how we're flipping this from longer term resistance into longer term support. Again, we had resistance at this level all the way back in 2020. You can see key rejections here in March, as well as another rejection here back in August. So it is a good sign that we're holding this as support and starting to bounce off of this. Now, in the event that we're continuing this structure and we're starting to head back up, the next level of resistance ahead of us is going to be the 20-week simple moving average. So on the chart, that is this yellow line, and basically it takes the closing price of the last 20 weeks, averages it together, and then plots it here, and you can see that this is strong resistance that we held back in April as well as January, with these two key rejections holding them as resistance and then forming lower lows. So if we're making it back up to that level, it's going to be very important for us to actually flip it into support, because if we're starting to reject again, you can see if we were to continue the trend, that would mean we're forming lower lows and then continuing the longer term downtrend. So that's not something we want to see here. And also consider the fact that it is going to be moving down at a pretty quick pace, considering that if we were to go back 20 weeks ago, we were closing prices on the weekly at around 25 cents. So we're averaging down here with closing prices around 8 cents. So it's going to continue to move down at a pretty quick pace. And we could be testing this all the way at 8 cents in the middle of September, for example. Currently, it's at around 12 cents. So a very important level to watch out for once again. And also ahead of that, we have this resistance level around 15.5 cents. So obviously much further ahead of us, but you can see here, we had resistance being held back in February. This was a rejection point, and then we flipped it into support back in the summer of 2021 on this low here that took us to a new all-time high. And basically these are the two major resistance levels I'm looking at here on the weekly. If we can reclaim and flip both of these, that is a longer term sign that we might be starting to head back up to some of these all-time highs. But until that happens, we're still kind of just playing around here at these lower valuations, and we still have a long ways to go. All right, so now I want to switch over here to the HBAR Bitcoin chart and really just talk about HBAR's performance against Bitcoin. So we can see that HBAR has been more or less in a downtrend against Bitcoin since September, with basically lower highs and lower lows, forming this longer term downtrend once again beginning in September of 2021. And the goal here is to break this and break this downtrend. We want to see HBAR outperform Bitcoin because typically HBAR, like all other altcoins, take on higher risks than Bitcoin. So it doesn't really make sense to hold altcoins if they're underperforming Bitcoin. And essentially, we're coming back up to this key level of resistance around 350 Satoshis. Now, if we go back to 2021 and 2020, there was a lot of key interactions with this level. Basically, we held this as support on 4 separate occasions back here in 2020. And then in 2021, we flipped it into resistance back in January. Okay, so you can see this really key rejection, which took us down by about 45%. So again, a very key and powerful level of resistance. We can see that we had this rejection here back in June, trying to get back above this. It was a failed attempt. And again, one of the things I just want to see is breaking back above this level, retesting it, and then holding it as support. That would also break this general downward sloping resistance where all these lower highs are being formed off of. And then again, that would flip this horizontal level back into support. So that's a very key sign I'm looking out for. But even if that happens, we also have strong resistance ahead of us around 470 Satoshis. So if again, we go back to 2020, this was a very strong level of resistance. We saw how all of these candles were basically stopped at this level, and then we continue to reject back down, forming a lower low. And then in 2021, when we actually got back above this, you can see we flipped it into support. All of these candles held above this level, and we also had another bounce here in December. So those are the two very key levels of resistance that I'm watching out for. If we can actually reclaim them and then hold them as support, that's going to be a longer term sign that we're starting to potentially form an uptrend against Bitcoin and begin to outperform, which is again what I want to see with altcoins because they do tend to take on higher risks. So I hope you guys did enjoy the content and the analysis. By the way, once again, you can check out our sponsors for this channel, FTX.us, in the link in the description below. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.